What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show. Today is our 12th episode, and we have a first-time All-Star today. The leader of one of the biggest surprises in the NBA this year, also a fellow Clutch Sports client who's taken a huge leap this year. I've started to build a relationship with this guy probably about 4 years ago, and it is exciting to see him just really coming into his own. You knew the talent was there. You knew the shot was there. You knew the ball handling was there. I think I'm actually on record saying this, and if not, I will go on record saying this. Everyone always asks me, who's the toughest player for you to guard in the league? And over the last couple of years, that's changed for me. And the reason that has changed is because our guest today has changed that for me. And that is Darius Garland, who is, he's just so quick and shifty. And obviously, he can shoot the lights out of the ball. So, he'll hit you with one of these and you let up and boom, he's gone. So, he got a lot of irky jerky to him. So definitely one of the toughest guys I've had to guard. And as you know, we like to go around the association. And so it's very fitting that DG will be on the show today because obviously going around the association today, we're going to talk some all-star replacements, but most importantly, we are going to talk NBA trade deadline. Obviously, it's fast and approaching later this week, but the moves has already started happening. And so I want to get into those a little bit, kind of share my thoughts on a couple trades. And I would love to hear back from y'all through social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you decide. I would love to hear your thoughts on the trades because I have some thoughts as well. But first, I want to congratulate Dejounte Murray becoming a first-time All-Star and LaMelo Ball as well for becoming a first-time All-Star. Dejounte is replacing me for the Western Conference All-Stars. LaMelo is replacing Kevin Durant for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. And I can remember back to my first time getting that All-Star call. And, it's incredible. You grow up your entire life watching the All-Star game and man, I want to be an All-Star one day. And the reality is it's such a far-fetched goal. Even once you get to the NBA, especially for me as a second-round pick, I had no clue how I was going to get on the floor, let alone become an All-Star. So getting that nod for the first time, I think it is extremely incredible. And in this instance, a Dejounte Murray who a lot of teams didn't draft because they didn't draft Dejounte Murray because they said he was homeschooled. They didn't draft him because they said he had character issues and background issues and, his family's doing this and his family doing that. And the reality is Dejounte is one of the better guys in our league as far as a person, just being a person, a human being goes. And yet he was judged off his circumstances. And what do I mean by judged off his circumstances? You can't decide the family that you're born into. You can't decide the city that you grow up in. You can't decide what happened in your family before you, or even when as a child growing up. That's not your decision. And yet you're talking to a kid who sat in the green room until the 29th pick, if I'm not mistaken, due to his circumstances. And he was drafted lower because of his circumstances. And, quite frankly, that was a mistake. And so stop judging people, and especially basketball players, but just people in general off their circumstances. Because sometimes you just can't control that. And Dejounte Murray is a prime example of that. And to see him put the work into, I watch Dejounte often. He stays in San Antonio in the summer and work. And it shows in his game. He's gotten better every year. So to see him get that All-Star nod was beautiful because he deserves it. And he's done it the right way. Hard work, never quitting. Had an ACL injury his second year, continued to work. When San Antonio signed him to his contract, a lot of people said they were dumb, that they were crazy, and yet now he's probably one of the biggest bargain contracts in the NBA. But I thought, when he signed that contract, San Antonio did take a leap of faith, in betting on him before he had really amounted to anything. And I think, Dejounte and Rich did a great job of taking a deal that at that time you were uncertain. So if you can get, I think he signed a $40 million contract. If you can get $40 million in your pocket, especially for a young kid like Dejounte, I think he was 22 years old when he signed that deal, you do that. And so I think that was great on all ends, and it's paid off. We had a trade hop off today, Tyrese Haliburton and Sabonis trade between the Kings and the Pacers. I was shocked by this one. And the reason I was shocked is I just could not foresee the Sacramento Kings trading Haliburton. I also had heard rumors, and I think we all had heard rumors, of De'Aaron Fox possibly going to Indiana. And so if I'm evaluating this trade and knowing that the rumors were Fox for Sabonis, and now it's Tyrese Haliburton for Sabonis, I would have to say that the Pacers won that trade. Because if the Kings were going into it thinking that they were going to trade De'Aaron Fox, and again, I hear the rumors just like y'all hear the rumors. I don't know what the hell goes on inside the Kings organization, just like you don't know what goes on. The only thing you know is what you read. Only thing I know is what I read. And what I was reading was it'll be De'Aaron Fox. I had heard things before about how much the Kings love Tyrese Haliburton, and then playing against him, he's just a winning player. Like, he plays winning basketball. He makes guys better. You can tell how the guys respond to him, that they enjoy playing with him. And so I was a little shocked by that. And from the outside looking in, and just through the things I read, if it is true that the Kings went in thinking we're going to trade De'Aaron Fox, and they ended up trading Haliburton, I would have to say the Pacers won that trade, because they weren't really looking forward to moving, or they weren't really going to move forward with Sabonis, and they had kind of already made that clear through the reports that I had seen that everybody was kind of up for grabs, and they also made it clear with another trade that we'll get into in a second. But if they got Haliburton out of that deal, which they did, then I would have to say they won that trade. They also got Buddy Hield, which I'm not sure what their plans are, and then obviously Tristan Thompson. And I'm not sure what their plans are with Buddy. Like, will they move Buddy on? Will they buy Tristan Thompson out? Like, I think all of that stuff is up in the air. But, Buddy is definitely a valuable asset. And whether they keep Tristan or not, Tristan, he does his job. He always has. He's going to rebound the basketball. He's going to set great screens. He's going to do what Tristan does. So, very interesting trade. I don't think it's complete, though, as far as what will happen with the guys that were also a part of the trade, and not just the two top guys, which is Haliburton and Sabonis. So I don't think that trade is complete, and I'm looking forward to sitting back and watching that one unfold if something else happens with it. We also had C.J. McCollum traded. C.J. McCollum was traded from the Portland Trailblazers to the New Orleans Pelicans, and C.J. was traded for Josh Hart, Nickeil Walker-Alexander, Didi Louzada, a first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. That was also an interesting trade. I didn't foresee CJ going to the Pelicans, but I'm here for it because, number one, I think that gives the Pelicans a better chance at winning. And Willie Green is my guy. We won a championship together. We're both from the state of Michigan. Willie Green, Terror, my young guy, Mace, absolutely love Mace. And so to see them acquire a piece like C.J. McCollum to add in with the guys that they already have, I think that's a beautiful trade for the New Orleans Pelicans. I was shocked that was the trade that Portland made, but I thought that was a beautiful trade for the New Orleans Pelicans. You add the type of player like CJ, and if I'm not mistaken, I think CJ just has signed an extension. So you also add him for a couple years in hopes that you're going to get Zion back, maybe not this year, but next year. You still have Brandon Ingram there, so that brings in another ball handler, another scorer. I like that move for the Pelicans, and I'm excited about that move for them, for Willie Green in particular, because like I said, that is my guy. And then, obviously, in speaking of our guest that we spoke about that'll be on the show today in Darius Garland, I'd be remiss if I don't talk about the Caris LeVert trade. And I'll save that one because I want to talk through that trade with Darius and get his thoughts on it and how he feel about it. But just quickly, I like that trade for the Cavs. They seem like they're going all in for it and that they're really trying to build something special. Caris is still fairly young with their young core. And so we'll see where that one goes, but we'll also talk about that one later in the show with DG, the PG that is. The Blazers also made another trade earlier this week, and that was this weekend, and that was Norman Powell and Robert Covington headed to the Clippers. That move was very interesting for me because it tells you a lot about where the Clippers are as a franchise. It tells you a lot about Ty Lue as a coach. You know, Ty Lue is never willing to just tank. Like, Ty Lue is an incredible coach, and he's always trying to win. And that organization, with that trade, they showed you that they're still trying to win regardless of Kawhi out, regardless of PG being out and kind of uncertainty around that. And will he return? Will he not? We saw him shooting shots with his left hand just the other day. So, I mean, even and of course we heard reports that he'll get another MRI on February 24th, which is still a couple weeks away. And so just with the uncertainty of that, I was a little shocked by this move, but I understand it because it shows you how they're feeling as a franchise. But most importantly, even if it does absolutely nothing for this year, Norman Powell signed a 5-year contract with the Portland Trail Blazers this past summer. So you still have that asset moving forward. And as Kawhi come back into the fold, as Paul George come back into the fold, you still have an incredible piece to push in with those guys. And that'll probably move, I mean, depending on what lineups they go with, possibly you have Norman Powell coming off the bench, which, you know, Norman Powell is a very good player, a dynamic player. He scores the basketball well. He plays his role, doesn't do too much. So that was a very interesting trade. And then obviously Robert Covington, you know what you're getting. You're getting the threes. You're getting a defender, a solid player who's always going to help a winning team. So I like that trade for the Clippers. I was shocked by it because you just didn't see it coming. Like, didn't see them making a move like that, especially with their two top dogs down. I respect it. Like I said, that's what happens when you have a guy like Ty Lue coaching who's just never really gonna accept tanking. Like, that's just not what he does, and he's shown that. And then also we've had the Ben Simmons and the James Harden rumors. I don't quite know what to think of these rumors. You can kind of only just watch and see how it plays out. If you're the Brooklyn Nets, I'm sure they're probably feeling like with what they gave up, they have to try to give it at least one chance to work with all their guys, hopefully healthy. But who knows where that goes. You know, you kind of heard that it wasn't happening, and Steve Nash came out and said James Harden is not getting traded at the deadline. We've heard that story before. We've read that book before. We've seen the ending to that movie where someone comes out and say, oh, man, this person isn't getting traded. And then it happens. In saying that, I don't think James Harden will get traded. I can't really foresee it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, with the reports that's coming out of Brooklyn and also the reports that's coming out of Philly. Daryl Morey is the same guy who brought James Harden to the Houston Rockets, paid him a max contract before he had proven that he can be the face of a franchise, and yet we know what happened there. And so I know they have a good relationship. I've heard rumors that James could possibly end up in Philly. We'll have to wait that one out to see. But I am very excited to see what happens with Ben Simmons. Does he stay? Does he go? If he does stay, what does that mean for the rest of the year for Philly? What does that mean for Philly moving forward? I am very interested in seeing what happens with that. But as we spoke about earlier, our guest, first-time All-Star, Darius Garland from the Cleveland Cavaliers,